Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Chaos Gym. I'm Rahul, and we have Sun and Moon again. It's live. Sorry, I'm a little sick. We got a ton of decks coming up this week. I'm very excited to show off a lot of stuff that I'll be working with before Anaheim. We don't have a lot of cards in yet, just because we're gonna wait for tonight. If you guys are watching this at the time of it, I think 8 p.m. Tonight, Grafton will be doing a stream where he's gonna open all like 150 codes we have, giveaways, whatever, etc. So check that out based on the time you're watching this. If you're not watching this on the day it came out, that stream had already happened, I think, hopefully. I don't know, it's up to Grafton on this one. But I will probably try to get a video out every day this week of decks, just ideas that I've been having, just stuff that I want to talk about Sun and Moon. And then the week of Anaheim, I'll be leaving Thursday-ish. So until then, you'll have videos from me more than likely. I'll try to get out at least 6 to 7 videos from now to when I leave to Anaheim. One of them being what I think will be a preview, again, like I do normally for the regionals. But yeah, I'll try to pump out a lot of content in these next 2 weeks before I get on my flight over there, because I'm not going to take my laptop, obviously. So recording a video out there would be very difficult, unless I'm doing like a vlog, which I might. I don't know. I have to see if my phone can handle it and if I remember. My phone definitely can. Sorry, I just have to see if I remember to videotape a lot of this stuff, because I'm like flying at like midnight. Getting there at like midnight on Thursday, so I have like a full day to hang out with everybody and test. Very excited. So if you're going to Anaheim, be sure to drop in the comments that you're coming. I'll be sure to, if you find me, say hi, whatever. It'll be awesome. Sorry, I'm ranting. The video of today that we're going to talk about, the deck is Vespiquen, Passimian, Zebstrika. Now, it's no stranger to everyone that I love Vespiquen. It is a deck that I've always wanted to make work. It's always a deck I've always thought was good. It just depends on how many people are playing counters to Vespiquen. If you're playing Karen, no one's been playing Karen, so that should never be an issue. Um, so yeah, nobody's actually playing Karen, so Vespiquen never was countered in that regard. And on that same token, nobody really like had a problem with um God, what's the word I'm looking for? Tina. Tina was like the biggest problem. If people were using Giratina to attack you, that was where you lost the game. Chaos Wheel and Glaceon's attack are the two things you can't really deal with. Just not attaching your DCEs and not being able to attack. But now you have an answer to Glaceon in the pseudo form of Passimian, this bad boy. So we'll start going through the deck. I'll start with Passimian since I already clicked on him. There's 4 Passimians. It does for DCE team play 10 plus 30 damage for each of your bench Passimians. So if you have a Passimian in the active spot, you attach a DCE, and you're swinging. If you use team play, you're doing 100 damage at this point. If you use the Mew EX, you're doing 130. That's not too much damage, I understand, but it's very valuable for a DCE, I think. Like, you get a ton of value for a DCE. The thing's got 110 HP as basic, so it's very resilient in the format where, like, Decidueye is rumored to be very big. And on top of all of that, you can one-shot a Darkrai EX, and Speed Dark, I don't know about you, has been dominating the format, so I think you need an answer to that going into Anaheim regardless. I don't think any of the new cards affect the deck too heavily, because it's going to come in and it's still going to do what it does, attach energy and hit you in the face. So 4 Passimian is what I play in here. There's the typical 4/4 Vespiquen, Be Revenge, 20 plus 10 for each Pokemon in your discard, simple stuff. now we get to the other attackers in the deck. There's 3/2 Zebstrika line. Now Zebstrika I think you can cut down on, just because we're not expecting as many Evatol to be big, but with the resurgence of Tauros into the metagame, um, I think the Evatol in some capacity will show up, especially since we're going to in Anaheim, a place where Evatol is one of the biggest decks for years. It's been dominating since like 2013. So it's worth putting Zebras in for that very reason. If not, I'd probably play Zoroark. Um, so yes, take that. If you want to play Zoroark instead, you can play Zoroark instead. Um, Other than that, those two, like you deal with Mega Rayquaza, which is I guess another free win, but it's another attacker. You just want to be attacked with Vespiquen 90% of the time anyway. So let's go. There's 4 unknown, typical stuff. 3 Shaman, typical stuff. So let's go a little weird stuff that I've added. There's 1 Oranguru, because a lot of the time you are going to get N to nothing, and you're like, man, I wish I had one more card so I can Ultra Ball for a Shaman, or man, I wish I had one more card that could be a supporter, or I have like a 5-card deck and I need one more card, and that'll be my out to win the game. And so Oranguru sitting on your bench, they can never deal with the Oranguru and your Vespiquen at the same time. So, um, I think it's a very good add to the deck. One Rattata because everything plays tools now and everything is super fat, and so getting rid of those fighting Fairy Bells is important and keeps you in the game and gets you early knockouts. One Tauros GX just because it's so splashable and everything that like if I ever want to just like sit behind a Tauros and set up, I'll just be like, hey, here's a Tauros. You can hit this thing if you want, but I'm just going to attach a DCE and outrage you. If not, I'm just going to horn attack you for 60 consistently until you have an answer to this Tauros. And that's all for one DCE. Like, I'm just committing one DCE and one slot in my deck to have this guy who's already going to be swinging for 60, softening up everything. So when they knock out the Tauros, eventually, I don't know, 2-shot, maybe 3-shotted, then I bring up my Vespiquens and I go, all right, let's play this game. So it's just really good to be a splashable card. One Mew because you can copy. There's so many things in this deck that you can copy now. You've got the DC, the Zebstrika, you've got the Vespiquen, you've got Passimian, you have Tauros. You can also even copy Oranguru's attack. It's not bad actually. It's like 60 plus, yeah. It's psychic, 60 plus the amount of energy on them, so they're like misattach. You just go double DC attack. So there's a lot of things you can copy with Mew in this deck, and I think that's very good because you have so many versatile techs and attackers that it's not just standard consistent Vespiquen Zoroark garb or like Vespiquen Zebstrika garb that it used to be. You have Vespiquen and Friends again. Because there's a lot of new additions in Sun and Moon. There's different decks you can do also like Umbreon and stuff, but like that's a different build for a different day. Let's get into the supporters and the nitty gritty of the stuff. 4 Sycamore, 2 N, 2 Lysander, 1 Hex. Very standard stuff for a deck like this. We don't have an answer to Greninja if we don't play Hex, so you need to have the Hex Maniac. Considerations were a teammates. I just don't think I like teammates. For those of you who know me, I don't like teammates. So, with that being said, you could have a teammates in here, but I think I opted to play a Revitalizer instead because I prefer having more long-term recovery in the deck. So that's what we're doing with. The stadium of choice in this deck is 2 Skyfield. Because we have so much things, and almost every setup with Vespiquen requires you to Ultra Ball for Shaman at least twice a lot of the time, or even just once. Ultra Balling for Shaman once is a very common occurrence in Vespiquen. So when you're doing that, you're already eating up one of your bench spots. So you have to go the Passimian route. Whatever you opened, if it's not a Passimian, you have to get the 4 Passimian onto your bench. And you're going to be benching unknowns to set up. You're going to be benching Combi somewhere along the line just so you can get the Vespiquens out. You want to be able to bench Rattatas and stuff. So Skyfield is an excellent stadium in the regard that you can do all that. You can now have an 8-card bench. And now we're playing kind of like Raichu bats with all the weird techs and stuff that you have to just have sitting on your bench. Um, Other stadiums to consider, definitely Forest of Giant Plants is probably my go-to one. Sorry, Forest is the other one because Forest you can just get the state like you just instantly evolve into Vespiquen. You're putting on threat onto them, and it's very strong in that regard. And then the other one is Faded Town, where you can with Faded Town you're pretty much saying, hey, um, I'm countering megas, and that's my metagame. So it depends on what your metagame is looking like. But I really like the Skyfield, so I encourage you guys to try it out. Have an open mind with Vespiquen. So then we have 4 VS, 4 Ultra Ball, very standard stuff, and then 4 Acro Bike. You draw, draw, draw. There's one Floatstone just because I always feel like it's a necessary evil to have something where you can retreat, because a lot of the things in this deck don't have a free retreat cost. It's only Vespiquen, as a matter of fact, that has a free retreat cost. Everything else in this deck is like, hey, I'm kind of fat, especially your Oranguru, especially Zebstrika has 1, Passimian has 1, Tauros has 3, so that's really annoying. Having that 1 floatstone for that, if you opt to play the Zoroark instead of the Zebstrika, that 1 floatstone becomes a long-term floatstone because you just rush and retreat constantly, or stand in, or whatever Zoroark's ability is. So it's better with the Zoroark build, but just putting this thing on something like Tauros, like when something gets knocked out, you normally don't have another attacker set up. Like 80% of the time, you're like, okay, I have to like Sycamore this turn into an attacker, or I have to end myself to like 4 and hope I hit like a Vespiquen or a DCE. So like pushing up something like a Tauros with a float zone going, your move, kid. They have to go like, well, I have to answer this Tauros that has a float zone on it, so I can hit it once and it can retreat regardless. So it's just having another option, which I really like having. My recovery engine has been abundantly the same throughout. I usually go 2 Revitalizer, 2 Special Charge, but because we have so many more friends in this variant with like Passimians, Tauros, Shaman, Zebras, blah blah blah. It's not as linear. A super rod instead of a second revitalizer was a play, so it's one super rod, one revitalizer, two special charge, just because you need a two special charge because your entire deck is running off of DCE. Every single attacker in this deck requires a DCE. So with special charge, you effectively have 8. And with 8 DCEs, you should be able to close out a game. Almost certainly, you should close out a game. Usually the problem comes in with the lack of attackers because you usually run out of stuff because you're pitching a lot of his stuff. But this one has a lot of attackers and a lot of flexibility, so you shouldn't face that problem. That being said, this is like a preliminary rough draft again. This is what I've been toying with constantly. Feel free to make any suggestions down below what you think could be added to Vespiquen, because the strength of Vespiquen is that it's so flexible that you can pretty much add whatever you want, and the concept of the deck is still the same. You can literally put in whatever you want into a Vespiquen deck, and it'll still run the exact same. So it's just the consistency engine's always there. You just have to figure out what your tech cards are, and this is my tech card choices going into Anaheim. Let me know in the comments below if you think differently. Please be sure to like the video. That helps us out a lot if you liked it. Even if you didn't like it, please like it. And then comment, subscribe, whatever. Thank you guys so much. I will be, yeah, hopefully watch the stream tonight. If not, I don't mind. I'll have cards again hopefully so I can make better videos. But thank you so much.